The Country Bear Jamboree is no more. Another opening day attraction at Walt Disney World Resort is gone. It's going to be replaced by the new Country Bear Review, which shall be named something atrociously long later. But until then, we wanted to talk about the one final insult that visited the Country Bears. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, and I am an investigative reporter for That Park Place. With me, as always, is my favorite expert on the theme park space, Mr. Vash Sky. Vash, how you doing today?
I am doing very, very well. How about you, Jonas?
I'm doing pretty good. I wish that I could have been there to see the Country Bear Jamboree's final show, but it sounds like no one got to see the actual intended final show. Instead, the second to last show ended up being the final show. This one goes out of WDW News Today. Photos, video, Henry, Liver Lips McGraw, Animatronics break on closing night of Country Bear Jamboree performances at Magic Kingdom. This by Britt Tuttle. With tonight, that being a few days ago, being the final evening of performances for the Country Bear Jamboree at Magic Kingdom before it closes to be reimagined into the Country Bear Musical Jamboree inspired by Moana. It seems that the Bears have gotten a bit of a stage fright. Both the Henry and Liver Lips animatronics have begun malfunctioning and freezing up mid-show. Now, from everything that I'm seeing in the videos, it seemed like the audience got a little bit more into it on the final. You can see so many cameras up here of people trying to get that final moment here. And oh man, that's such great framing right there. All these non-IP attractions right here. Sorry, non-new IP attractions on stage. Vash, I'd like to hand this over to you since you are, in fact, my favorite theme park expert. What happened here?
Well, I think it just comes down to Disney not wanting to necessarily pay in order to maintain these things throughout its last day or last week of operation or what have you. They probably cut off maintenance probably a few days out before the last day here. And unfortunately, that didn't necessarily skew well with how many people actually wanted to see this thing on the last day right here. We have a post here from Thrill Geek right here on Twitter. Just massive lines throughout the day, by the way. These did not subside. In fact, they even got further as the day went on, going as far back as like Adventureland and past Pirates of the Caribbean Plaza and that kind of thing. I mean, it's just massive demand to see one last performance from the Bears, which was heartwarming to see for sure. But it was also really sad when the people who had been in these lines, several shows deep, in fact, didn't actually get to see the last performance there, or a series of last performances,
right? And
before breaking down.
Those would be big time Disney fans, the people that, one, were aware that Country Bear Jamboree was shutting down, and two, decided to spend that long of a line in order to watch the experience. I always forget how long this stretch here is of Frontierland. It's really one where I don't know if it just blends together in my mind when I'm trying to remember it. But that passage between Splash Mountain and the Hall of Presidents, it always seems shorter in my mind. But whenever I see an aerial photograph or whenever I'm trying to walk it, it's like, wow, that is actually a pretty long stretch. It's long enough for them to host a parade at, which is probably the reason it is so long. But wow, look at that. And also, that's a great photo right there.
Oh, it is.
I like that moon shining down on the guests here as they try to get their last glimpse of the Country Bear Jamboree. I'm glad WDWNT is there to record these things. We currently don't have the resources to get somebody in the park every single time, and the historical aspect there is not to be taken for granted.
It is unfortunate. Here is a crowd right there that was about to go into the next show before being informed that the Country Bears have been having some technical issues, and eventually just got to a point where it was like, okay, well, let's see what else we can do, because as you can see right here, Adventureland. I mean, this line went on just
stretched to Pirates. Wow.
Yeah, it was a long line. So all of these people right there, and what they decided to do? Well, they decided to have people walk through the interior space of this famous attraction, dating back to Mark Davis, by the way. I mean, this was an opening day attraction for the park in October 1st, 1971. And the concept for this goes back to, the Disney company's idea for Mineral King. And it was going to be just kind of an animatronic show as part of that resort, which is crazy, before being adapted for Walt Disney World. So, it just has just a unbelievable legacy and unbelievable history. And to only have, just one of the curtains drawn open, but with no bears present, and then the other curtains drawn, and have people just kind of walk through it that way was really, really disappointing. I think a lot of people were hoping that the bears themselves would be on display, because as we know, that is actually what is going to be replaced ultimately with new animatronic, incarnations of the bears, which, great to hear, but I think people really wanted that time with the bears they knew and loved, and unfortunately Disney didn't provide them in this instance.
Right. The animation aspect of the audio animatronic is one of those bare necessities of the performance there.
Yes, and people kind of remember, like, Universe of Energy, for example, right? The last day that attraction operated, I believe right before it was going to be closing permanently, so a couple hours or maybe an hour before the final day, the attraction broke down, and so people were provided an in-show exit and could actually walk through, like, the Primeval World diorama scene that was part of that attraction. And it was really, really cool to kind of see the lights on and kind of get up close and personal with some of these animatronic figures that people had been seeing for I think 25 something years before then. So that was a really kind of cool thing, and I think a lot of people were expecting that here, but unfortunately Disney did not provide that.
Well, no, I will say that they apparently they did allow people to go through the attraction and go through the auditorium and take pictures if they had waited in the line. So there is at least that they allowed people to go through and have like a wake for the country bears here.
But they weren't on display, though. They were behind the curtains.
That's right, and they were there. We've been having a discussion about the massive weight of these animatronics and how much trouble it is to try to repair them. It's not something where you go in and you flick a switch, and like those robot arms in a manufacturing plant, like they can move quickly and they can be kind of heavy. But these things here, anywhere between a quarter to a half a ton. They're massive things that it's not like if you pushed against it, it might if it pushed back against you, it might hurt you pretty hard. It's the amount of heft we're talking here.
And it requires specialized maintenance teams, let's say, in order to perform maintenance on these things. And it's a big cost to undercut as part of the company. So it was like, well, if these things are going away anyway, why are we going to fix them for the hundreds or so guests that want to see them on this final day right here? It doesn't necessarily make sense from a financial perspective. And I get that. I understand. But, I mean, at least have them on display. At least have so that people could see them one last time. Didn't do that. That was unfortunate.
Yep. Now, I will say I am looking forward to seeing what comes of the new Country Bear musical review, or whatever it's called, whenever it gets out. There's also the fact that they have not fully confirmed what is going to be in there. Obviously, there'll be some more IP-driven shows, songs that will be added in. It seems like it's something that could be updated more on a regular basis. So maybe they can do holiday tunes. They'll probably be whenever they announce what the next Disney musical feature will be. They'll probably throw in some music from there. Vash?
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up, because if people recall, there used to be several variations of the Country Bear performances back in the day. The Country Bear Vacation Hoedown, which was the summer overlay, and the Christmas version that would be obviously displayed during the holidays. There were concepts and ideas to do a Halloween version, even like a Valentine's Day version. But the conversion for this was like $1 million back in the day. It was unbelievably expensive. So unfortunately, that that didn't last for too long, including the Christmas version, which lasted all the way up until like the mid 2010s. Tokyo still does this, which is kind of cool. But maybe, possibly, like you said, Jonas, maybe the conversion from like one of these acts to the other for the holidays, let's say, might be a little bit more financially viable
Feasible,
for the
yeah.
company, right?
Yeah.
With new animatronics. That's a possibility. That would be cool.
Now, of course, I will have a little chuckle on another person in this space's behalf if some of those, if one of those ends up being a Toy Story themed Country Bear show. Now, of course, over at WDWNT, I don't know why I end up referencing them on this one. They have a full history of the Country Bear Jamboree over there on their channel, and I totally recommend, if you're watching this and you want to know more about this attraction and the Mark Davis history there, go check that out. But of course, if you are here, we surely would appreciate if you would like this video, only if you like this video. Share it out if you know someone who is interested in the kind of things that we talk about over here. And of course, if you could, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.